if he can actually get the steal. Nocturne ult's gonna get popped, and there's a flash forward. They're in on Spica, trying to keep him alive. They can't do it. And the flash forward from Quinn with the stolen Amumu ulti. Anything you can do, I can do better, says Quinn.
Flash Amumu.
I cannot TP right now.
Look at Amumu, look at Amumu. Kill Amumu.
44.
I'm 1 HP, guys.
We need to cut.
Nice.
I'm very flashed. I mean, Sal's flashed.
I got it.
I'm dead.
I'm on take.
Yeah, go Salas.
126.
Hit anyone.
We win. Nice. Top, wait, TP.
I'm slowly coming to
Nice.
you. You can fight him. River, I'm here with you.
Look fight is good.
I'm coming, River. I'm
I
coming.
saw Volti.
Hey, look,
Can we look Corki?
Kasante.
We can look their chunk.
Yeah.
We can look their group. We can look their group.
I got you, baby girl.
Anything?
5
Five
seconds old.
Hey, back for die.
2 seconds old.
Yeah, look me. I can W.
I can't fight him.
I flash out. W and fire.
I don't flash.
Oh, yes.
No, run. W2.
I'm keeping behind. Fight is good, guys. Fight
Maokai's
is good.
1 HP.
Maokai.
Maokai's 1
I'm
HP.
coming right now.
He's dead.
Look Kalista.
We can win. We can win.
Corki.
Not W Corki, guys.
I'm
Not W.
going Kalista
Okay,
one time.
Robot, go forward.
Yeah, go forward.
I'm on up here.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
I'm going Jarvan.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, we went. Look at me.
We can still slowly
That's it.
fight.
That's it.
Smurder coming.
Yeah.
Can you get out?
Senna here.
Probably not.
We can win this, guys.
Holding here. It's really good. It's
Jarvan
really
said,
good.
really good. I'm stuck.
Earl's behind us, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's fine. Go forward.
I moved yours.
I'm going to
Yeah.
Azir, maybe. Is this net? No, he's not.
Yeah,
I'm healed.
Yeah, I think he's killing you.
Kasante here.
Look Senna.
Senna.
Wait,
I
TP me.
vote
No
for.
flash.
Look
Wait, TP
Maokai.
me.
Kasante has all, guys. Kasante has all.
I'm cooked.
Need to flash.
They're really offside here. They're really.
Yeah,
I saw that.
It's all you guys. Okay, it's
Just
all you guys.
play slow.
It's all you guys.
I saw that. We win this.
I'm actually going to look off the replays. Licorice is fighting against Ayla. He's going to get hooked in. We're back. And now Licorice in a lot of trouble. Dawning Shadow comes in over the top. He's going to go all out.
Oh, you on here, guys?
You're in here. You're in here.
Camille will die, I think.
We need help with
Come
Karen.
back. Camille might die. I got Senna as well.
Senna flash. Can you ulti?
I'm 1 HP. It's all you guys.
Huge. It's huge.
I say to you.
Your mom sees the brutal, savage rat.
I had to hit him with it.
He's going to get slapped up, though, and Flash gets him a little bit of distance, but I'm not sure it's going to get him enough. Trying to run for it, can't get out of there. River knocks him down, first blood. Wall, but River gets scooped away by Licorice, and Licorice is just ulting him and pulling him out, but he's down, and the Baron's still alive, and he's in, and he still is 100 Thieves. Get the Baron, get the kills, and just like that,
100 Thieves with the heist of a season.
here, but the sleep comes on, and Jensen is going to be cleansed off, and Quinn, the last breath on to Jensen. It may just be the last breath of Dignitas. 100 Thieves, make no mistake. They fly into the back line. They look to close out the series. They'll take out Dignitas. They'll put the finishing touches on it, and they'll move on to a match with Cloud9 where they'll play for a chance at Worlds.
No. It was,
Let's freaking
I didn't
go,
do that,
guys.
bro. Wait. Don't end yet. I want to buy my item. Please don't end yet. Why do you guys freaking end when I say that, bro? Whatever. Team Gov?
Don't end.
Did he ever buy the item? I don't know. I don't think he
Till
made
this
it.
day, we don't know.
Welcome to Waiting Room. That was the 5th place decider.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dignitas soundly in 5th.
Unfortunate.
100 Thieves is going to be playing Cloud9 on Sunday, so tomorrow, to decide who still gets that last shot in finals weekend. Let's look at the bracket, because this is what we have left. We only have 4 best-of-5s left in this LCS championship season. C9 versus 100 down in the lower bracket. Today, we have Team Liquid versus FlyQuest, the main course of the upper bracket.
Who's going to fall into the gulag alongside C9 and 100 Thieves? That's my question.
Who's going to get a potential warm-up game before the championship on the Saturday?
I feel like there's something more pressing here.
What is?
I have never been on this chair. Almost went hard.
Yeah,
No,
wow.
This is so much
That
room.
can't be true.
What are you going to do?
I'll tell you what I'll do.
Okay.
You're my therapist.
Okay, Raz.
Okay.
How did yesterday's series make you feel?
Both excited and incredibly scared.
Okay.
Why are you scared?
Elaborate on the fear.
I never felt secure that the game was going to end. And so I felt as though at one point where I was running out to do an interview, I realized, no, Dignitas threw again. Which actually might do really well for their sales for their
Interesting.
emote.
So
but it felt really bad for me.
You felt insecure with the safety of Dignitas. Is Dignitas a parental figure for you?
A little bit. They've been around all my life. So I think we need to see more from them, but you know, that's a next year thing. That's a next year thing. This is great. You have so much space all year long. We haven't used it.
No, we haven't.
Yeah,
Usually we have 4 people.
They also always tell me that, like, I think because I'm too short, they always tell me to like sit specifically on one side so Tibbers can take up
I feel more
majority of the
comfortable in the
space.
corner of the couch. So that's why I sat on the chair today.
I could
because
pick
can
It's
favorites.
also really deep. You kind of sink back into it.
I can pick favorites, Jet.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think
I
this
can
is.
do that.
We've hit our limit of couch content.
Yeah,
for later.
okay.
Producers are making us go ahead. I
That's
don't know
fair.
why, because this is great. Either
That's
way,
fair. I'm
people
enjoying
tune
it.
into.
FlyQuest and TL, they've been having matchups a lot this year.
They
so
have.
we have.
Weirdly
That's our two
enough,
best teams.
the best FlyQuest TL matchup wasn't the finals in terms of absolute cinema. It was the first round of their playoff series in spring. And here's some highlights.
And the thing that was really funny is talking to the guys on Pros last week that both Core and Massu and Bwipo all remembered this series really fondly as like the series between their teams that they enjoyed the most. Obviously, Core was like, I wish it had gone our way instead of your way. But I thought it was interesting because this is Yeon set a few records here, and this is the series that both teams seem to remember in some ways even more than the finals.
Yeah, it was also the kickoff of Team Liquid really solidifying their ability to play aggressive. Even though they didn't win the series, you could see the direction that they were moving in perfecting the playstyle they currently have.
All split long during spring, you had pointed out how really slow they were.
No.
And Spawn, their coach, was not happy about how
No.
slow they were playing.
Yeah.
And was always talking about how he wanted to see what they were doing in scrims on stage, and that was the series where we really got to see it. It was incredibly bloody, and that was the most exciting series I've honestly been a part of.
Yeah.
Just like it's incredible back and forth, nonstop fighting for objectives, and I hope we get something similar to that today.
And as a
Same.
reminder, even though Team Liquid lost that really exciting series, they then dominated FlyQuest in the finals, and there was some legitimate beef at the time with Team Liquid. We have some sound of Yeon and Core after winning the finals.
Honestly, the win is like nice, but it was more so I didn't want to lose to the top jungle of FlyQuest. They're so fucking annoying, man. Like, their skill level was not as good as their egos, I think. They're good, but like, they were talking too much. It's like, I mean, honestly, I'm not the person to talk someone after I win, but my God, they would not shut up after they won.
If you guys want to trash talk, be as good as this guy.
Oh man, that brings back memories. Yeon was really
He was
charged.
on one. The line of their egos didn't match, or their skill didn't match their egos is actually great.
That's crazy. The fact that he's for sure just holding on to that until they end up winning the series, just to be on the mic to say it. I love it. We need more irritated Yeon.
Yes. So then he has to lose this. Bwipo has to trash talk him right after the series, and we'll get the full circle in the finals again. Either way, FlyQuest wasn't the expected team here.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, people did think Cloud9 was the favorite going into last series, but then FlyQuest won the series 3-1 and was like an auto attack away of winning all 4 games.
Yeah, and it was pretty surprising. I really enjoyed what FlyQuest, because a lot of people talked about C9 drafts, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at the opposite side, FlyQuest, I thought, did a really good job of responding to what C9 wanted to do, because as we take a look, we have 4 games of Renekton for Bwipo, right? 3 games of Ivern. By the 4th game, C9 identified Ivern as the problem. Previously, they'd identified Smolder as the problem. And so you can kind of see the evolution of specifically jungle mid and then top, and how they kept that really stable and then changed up their bot lane, which I found super, super interesting for a few reasons. One, I thought they did a great job of just drafting in the series overall. But the second is that when you remember FlyQuest previously, especially in spring, in a lot of those games they were playing TL, they would often save R5 for Bwipo.
Right.
And really switch up like counter picks. So I thought this was a very different look from them, but I really, really liked it.
Yeah, it created so much safety, like a safety net for their carries. Because both Massu and Quad are incredibly reliable in the backline.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we were able to see an Ivern providing shields and heals to a Renekton to just be as belligerent as possible for as long as he can be, made it ridiculous. And Quad in lane, by the way, when he's on his Smolder or, even the Azir, he's insane. I just don't think it's a champion. Even if they move him off those champions, he's just going to be great on the next one. So it's tough. I'm excited to see this series just to see what APA's response is going to be.
Yeah, and there's also a level of trust from Inspired with being willing to play Ivern all of those games after playing carry junglers basically the entire split. In the post-series interview, he actually had very complimentary things to say about Quad. We're going to take a look and then talk about it more.
Quad was always insane. Like week 1, when we lost to TL, I think we were trolling him. So it wasn't his fault we ever lost any game on stage. Like honestly, looking for any game we played this split, I don't think it was ever mid fault that we lost. So I really like playing with Quad. I think he always knows his job and plays very well. So good job.
Yeah, Inspired was really complimentary of Quad. I'm going to go through some few basic lane assignments in terms of how FlyQuest has done a really good job of just making sure that he gets gold. I'm going to be talking about everyone's favorite thing, minion waves and turret plates. So here the setup is C9 are actually taking grubs right here. Quad is down here pushing bot on Azir. And we are going to roll through this. So he is going to recall down on bot side as Bwipo blows Blabber's flash. And then he is going to end up TPing right here onto this ward, coming in. And the most important thing coming out of this is actually that he is going to be able to push in this mid wave, and Bwipo TPs down to catch the bot wave. Now, when we pick back up a little bit later on, what's going to happen is Busio is here to cover. Quad is actually going to be able to shove this all the way in. He's going to get 2 turret plates off of this play while Bwipo is able to cover mid, and they get JoJo's flash. They almost kill him, but even though they don't kill him here, he actually ends up escaping. They do get prio off of that, and like I said, Quad gets 2 turrets off of it. This is in the next game, the Orianna game. So once again, it's a grub setup. He is down here pushing onto bot side. As Blabber is clearing the grubs, they actually give up those grubs and really focus on making sure that Quad is able to get turret damage down on bot side. But then when the time comes, he's actually going to TP into this fight that they're setting up with FlyQuest heading up to collapse up here. He's going to end up TPing in and getting the kind of double kill tap off of this play once he TPs into the fight as Orianna. And I thought that FlyQuest overall, these are just 2 examples, one just in terms of lane assignments and another in terms of when they TP him into the fight as opposed to keeping him bot side to cover waves. Funneling plates into him, giving him the double kill, really, really focusing on making sure that he is in a great spot once their mid-game team fights happen.
I love the focus on just letting him farm on sides.
Yep.
Farm plates, farm minions, deny him if no one's going to be able to respond to those plates. And also, just having Busio sit in a bush in a control ward. I know the last time we talked about it. Yeah, last time we talked about it, he was just sitting there for over a minute. This time around, he was there for not too long to be able to make a play happen. FlyQuest really loves being able to make traps and play for their for their mid lane on side. They did it with Jensen and they're doing it with Quad.
And it's really interesting when you compare him to APA, right? As we see their respective player of the series numbers from recent series. I think TL is also so good with their mid-game lane assignments and making sure that APA is in a good position either to catch waves or, more importantly, especially on stuff like Corki, on stuff like Ziggs, previously on the Tristana, he was so good at taking down turrets. So when we compare how these 2 teams are playing around their mid laners, it's a really, really interesting matchup.
And I think what we saw from Quad last week is what we've been seeing from APA potentially in this entire summer split. And it's just the ability to find gold and for the team to give them space for gold. That's what you just showed, Emily. But that's something, when I was talking with Core last week about APA, the strange thing to me about him was that he's such a young player, but his macro seems to be so good. And the way Core explained it was, well, he just really likes to carry. So he's really good at getting gold.
Yes.
And that's the oversimplification of the breakdown that you just did, where they're very willing, like Quad, before he TP'd in there, he made sure to get the cannon first.
Yep.
Like, the timing ended up being perfect, but I do wonder if there's any world where he doesn't kill that cannon before teleporting, because he's just trying to maximize his gold. And APA is the same way. He's going to have more turret plates than any other player on Team Liquid in any given game, and it's just going to supercharge their gold, accelerate them in the game, and allow them to carry.
The only way I see a difference here is the fact that APA's Talia was incredible.
Yeah.
And that's
so
like
good.
a change in how they play and him trying to put resources into his side lanes in particular. And so it's going to be more about, can Quad in those type of games accrue resources and try and get the team to play as slow as possible and protective as possible so they're not losing kills and losing out in plays on side lanes to APA's Talia.
Yeah, and another thing that's a huge part of this is the junglers, right? Because like looking at the drafts from the C9 series, it was really interesting in terms of Inspired has so much confidence in his team now, where he can go for stuff like the Ivern. We're also seeing him switch to like Sejuani, Vi, things that facilitate their lanes more often when he wasn't allowed to be on the Lilia. And then by contrast, you have UmTi.
And I want to explain this graphic a little bit. M-prox is mid proximity at 14. It's the percentage of time they spend within 2,000 units of their mid laner. And the difference between Inspired and regular season, where he was 9th in the league in terms of being near his mid laner, to during the playoffs, where he's second only to UmTi, does show that both of these teams are very willing to put a lot of their jungle time and attention towards their mid laner. Another interesting call out, there are only 6 teams in playoffs, so Inspired being 6th in damage is in large part because he's just pivoted to Ivern, and it's more just illustrative that he is not the one carrying these games, and it is working for them. So the amount of trust that Inspired has put in the rest of his team this playoffs is an evolution of his game from what we've seen this year on FlyQuest.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to see, like the stark differences from Spring Split, early Spring Split, to this split where it feels like you needed to have Inspired play a carry jungler. And even though he started this split playing the Nidalees and Kindreds, that was more so an answer to the meta rather than the faith that he has in his carries. So the faith is definitely there. They're giving back in by 10,000 times with how they've been performing. So definitely get Ivern off the field. I don't want to see Ivern. If you're Team Liquid, you might want to ban it.
I think Lily will be hotly contested too. I mean, UmTi is also, by contrast, I think, a jungler who a lot of people are now looking and being like, was he snubbed as we look at the All-Pro where it was just
there's
all
4
of,
Team Liquid players
all
there.
Of TL
That's a lot of
plus
blue.
Blabber. There was actually a really funny tweet that TL did where it was like a Photoshop picture of Blabber and it's like, bro thinks he's on the team. And then it was, I believe, Inspired with all of C9 and then UmTi with the rest of FlyQuest.
Yeah.
And what UmTi does for this team has already automatically been a more facilitative style. He's talked about it a lot. But I think he is similarly a really crucial part of Team Liquid's success in terms of how he sets his team up. Like, I still remember that Baron fight from last week when he was on Sejuani, and his mechanics in that and how he controlled that fight was so good. And if you really look into what UmTi does, especially in team fights, it can be really, really impressive.
It's really funny, actually. Another team or a player that he reminds me of, a really successful team domestically that was like under a fine tooth and comb, and everyone is looking at who's actually the weakest link. Was it 2018 Invictus Gaming for me? Okay. Yeah, because
I was going to say Team USA Basketball.
That's a good one, actually. That's a great one.
Wait, are we going to talk about Ning?
I'm going Ning. Because in the domestic regular season, Ning was the person that was sacrificing a lot of his farm to be able to look to dive lanes to support his solo lanes, and he was doing it so extensively that when teams were like, this is a perfect team, this team finding a lot of success, and who's the weakest link, who's sacrificing the most, it was him. So I feel like there's that level of expectation when it comes to UmTi compared to the field. And I think people are underselling him currently.
I just hope he doesn't try to change his style because he feels left out of the All-Pro first team, because the other two guys that were first and second team are guys that take a lot of resources and weren't helping their lanes as much. So I think UmTi is playing exactly the role that the undefeated Team Liquid needs him to play, the team that hasn't lost a series since the first round of the spring playoffs against FlyQuest. They've been completely dominant with the way that UmTi has been playing, so he can't let not being a first or second team All-Pro based on subjective media votes to actually affect his play. With that being said,
I don't think he will. Yeah, he respects like everyone on this team, and in particular, he's joked about Core and then specifically Impact, where he was like, you know, the man in the top wants me to play Sejuani, so I like say something fun, and he's like, no, Sejuani. But Impact's like legacy on this like not only TL but across the LCS has really been widely noted, especially since he's had a massive career resurgence this year.
He really has. He's potentially playing the best League of Legends he's ever played, finding his way back to Team Liquid, reuniting with Core, really leading the charge on the lane swap meta and always gapping the other top laner. And he also is so unanimously respected by the other pros in the league, even Bwipo, who rarely has nice things to say about his opponents.
Impact's the #1. He's probably getting the MVP. And if you hear from Impact on stage, he also believes the same. And
he does.
That was a great interview you had with him.
It was funny. And it's the confidence comes from how well he has individually played in lane swaps, and then also how he's played in lane. He's always, it feels like, gotten better as a player for no matter how long he's been playing, and he feels like he's always a student of the game. I'm excited to see when it's moments like these that will qualify you into the finals, and of course later on the finals itself. Like, if you can keep consistent to that when other players are now looking at you as the best and you to improve on. So it's like, if Bwipo's finally saying, you're the best player, you're the best top laner, he's probably gonna be watching your VODs and trying to find those weaknesses and try and get the upper hand. So a smile from him. This is going to be a fun series.
Yeah, Bwipo hoping to vibe well. And another really cool thing about this series is you have a guy like Impact who won the 2013 World Championship, is the NA top lane GOAT, might win his first ever MVP. And then you have rookies and second-year players on the same team in the same rift. Massu, we have to call out. Congratulations on Rookie of the Year, by the way. A big glow up as well, I'd say, between spring and summer. Not that his spring was bad, but his summer was elite.
Yeah, his summer has been so strong, and watching him improve throughout this year has been really fantastic. I remember when he first came in, when I watched him in NACL, I was like, okay, he's gonna be strong in team fights, but his laning needs a lot of work. And I think you can see the evolution of that, especially in those Kalista games.
Yeah, the Kalista games, it's funny because you started to really see that confidence at MSI, and then moving past that, a lot of the times when you ask pro players about a rookie, they're the first ones to be like, oh, hold on, this kid's not that good. But they were saying differently. They were saying that, like, oh, he's actually really good in this, specifically the Kalista matchups. So like, he's a really good Kalista player. That's why FlyQuest is playing it a lot. And it's nice to see that a rookie is able to get that confidence so quickly after one split is crazy. And he wasn't even bad in Spring Split. He was good.
And one thing I remember that was really interesting that Yeon said, he said it to Busio on pros, but in the, like, when he was talking about Massu, maybe, like, FlyQuest had a rough MSI, but you'll be able to get over it because I had a rough Worlds, and now I'm doing really, really well, right? And when we look at these two players, Yeon in his second year, former last year's Rookie of the Year, going up against this year's Rookie of the Year in Massu. They're both such crucial members of their team, and they have been fantastic carries.
This is the future of our North American AD carries, the fact that we're seeing Yeon and Massu at the top.
NA talent.
NA talent. It's like a sneaky double-lift type. It's like, it's one of those things where you see a player that is growing so quickly, you see a matchup that we're probably going to be seeing from years to come. This is where it starts, and I'm excited to see it going forward.
Yep, playing against each other yet again. Yeon got the upper hand last finals. We haven't even seen these teams play that frequently. It was the first series of the Summer Split where they went 2-1. So it's been a while since we've actually seen these teams play on stage, and even if Team Liquid's the favorite, I think I'm kind of expecting a close series. You also caught up with APA and Inspired before the series. I only caught the end of that interview, so we're going to check out the whole thing now.
What's up, guys? Got Inspired and AP here right next to me. This is a finals rematch, actually, from Spring Split. First question, actually, going to Inspired. What's something that you feel like is going to be different this time around going up against Team Liquid?
I mean, they just have a new player now.
Yeah, that's the most simple answer. New player.
Anything else that comes to your mind?
I don't know. Nothing else. I think other than that, will be similar story. I think the games between us were usually close, so I assume today it's gonna be close as well.
Okay. Speaking of like the new player, I guess like for Quad, I feel like both of you guys have just been the best mid laners coming into playoffs. You were down at the very beginning of the split. For him, like, what's your assessment so far having to go up against him?
Well, I think the first week I thought it was terrible, but I think it was just stage nerves because it was like first time playing on like LCS stage. So I think since then, you know, we scrimmed them a decent amount throughout the season, and I've seen his games, of course. So I think he's a lot better than what he showed to me on stage. But you know, we'll see what happens.
And for yourself, you're going to be going up against UmTi. I think that's an exciting matchup, and I remember like the constant battles you guys have had. Like, what's your assessment having to go up against him?
I don't know. It will be probably ganking around and being funny. So we'll see what happens. I will try to tell my team every option he can do to surprise them. So hopefully they won't get surprised, and we'll see how the games goes.
Okay. Any final messages you guys have against each other?
I mean, last time you guys shit talked us, and we smashed you into the ground. So I don't think it's gonna be any different.
Inspired?
I don't really care.
All right. With that being said, we're gonna send it straight back. This man does not care.
He's just vibing. He also knows he's in finals weekend. Winning here is something they did somewhat in the spring split. He really wants to be able to beat them twice. Let's check out predictions here. Are we all TL? Are there any FlyQuest believers?
I'm pretty sure we're all TL. I wonder what the Discord's saying, and it's the same thing. Everyone's oh, Jazz.
So yeah, I had a weird feeling that FlyQuest was going to take this one, but I still wasn't. I've been predicting against Team Liquid too much. This split, I've hit my limit. I need to start predicting them. But basically, Fudge here yesterday was also predicting FlyQuest.
Yeah.
They've been performing very well in scrims. Apparently, Team Liquid hasn't been as elite as they had been in the past. And then also, FlyQuest was really solid in their series against Cloud9 just last week. And that would have tested them a lot more than Team Liquid's road to here, beating 100 Thieves. So I think it's just going to be a very competitive, very close series.
Yeah, I think I'm like kind of sad. I should have swapped to a 3-2. I think both of these teams, again, these are our two best lane swap teams. These are our two best macro teams. I also think the mid matchup, to APA's point in your interview, Raz, like that was Quad's welcome to the LCS moment, right? Where he ended up getting destroyed by APA in that series. We just talked about how FlyQuest play around Quad so much better now.
Yeah, and even just looking at the chat, you got a lot of people with various different like assessments. We got a lot of 3-0s from TL side. Alan has a 3-0 from FlyQuest side. Some people have a 3-2. It can go any which way, and it's based off of like the Cloud9 series, so it feels like anything can happen.
I hope anything does happen, Raz.
Something's
Biggest thing,
gonna happen.
let's get into game one. Let's send it to stage to get into the match.
I didn't want to lose to the top jungle of FlyQuest. They're so annoying, man.
I think our game will be the heavyweight match.
Bwipo continues to survive and thrive. He pushes forward with FlyQuest. Every man still going. Him back at the kill on Busio, but it costs them everything.
There will be fists flying left and right. We will be trying our damnedest to win that game.
And Bwipo drives the front line. Team Liquid will run them over.
If you guys want to trash talk, be as good as this guy.
I hope there's going to be a lot of kills, but we'll see.
Just fight. I will not back down. If you hit me, I'll hit you back.
Just let me cook.
We're gonna 2-0 them very easily.
Oh, he kind of like stole my whole flow.
Welcome back to the Summer 2024 LCS Playoffs, and welcome to the Upper Bracket Finals, a rematch, a whole split in the making. The last time these two met, Team Liquid was triumphant, but that was a long time ago before everything this split came to pass. Today, FlyQuest looks for redemption after their victory over Cloud9. Can they prove themselves to be contenders against the LCS's top squad? Or will TL just continue their reign of terror all the way into the grand finals? Let's find out. I'm here with Kobe and Azael. I'm CaptainFlowers, and I am excited to bring you this best of 5. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
I'm doing good, man. I think we're going to have a really good series today, and I'm so excited to see if some of the adaptations in the meta we've been seeing over this past week are going to be showing themselves here today.
Yes,
Nasus is getting banned out. We saw Amumu really prevalent in the series yesterday. We saw Senna become really important. So there's all these different changes that we've seen over the last week around the world. What are these teams going to take from them?
Definitely some big ones here. If Corki gets slammed, then you start to think stuff like Azir for the side of Quad and FlyQuest as well. Also interesting because we saw very different, team compositions yesterday. It was like really heavy dive on one side, and then it was double marksman, a lot of structure for 5-on-5s on the other side. TL obviously in slamming the Corki, you are going to go with the more traditional.
All right, well, it's Smolder, Lilia, and Nasus banned out by TL, with the Ivern, the Ziggs, and the Rumble banned out by FlyQuest.
Back on his Renekton.
All right, yep. Tread it, run from it. Renekton arrives to the draft all the same. That'll be Bwipo's pick for game 1.
This is interesting. Bwipo was actually talking on pros about how, he always felt in the past in his career that he couldn't just stay on one champion. If he has one bad game on champion, he's like, all right, I need to mix it up. I need to be able to change that up. And that was something that really would get in his head. And he said he's really been working on that, seeing a therapist and trying to get over that kind of block where it allowed him to feel comfortable playing the champion that he came with that preparation with. He played it all 4 times in their series last week, really performed incredibly well on it against Cloud9, and now bringing it out here again today.
Sometimes it really does help to become a specialist there and keep some of the extra variables consistent so that you can just focus on the other variables of the game. But I like what FlyQuest also did in pairing with their Renekton priority. They wanted to break up the Corki Ezreal combination that is so popular across leagues right now. Don't want to give over the double poke scaling there. Meanwhile, Team Liquid will keep it very standard so far. Now, this is a funny hover. We don't usually talk about the hovers, but ever since leading into MSI and all the hype for the Galio changes where they added health ratios to Galio and CoreJJ was spamming it in solo queue, I wanted to see it so bad. And and it was even flexed around in a couple leagues to mid lane, to top lane, but we still have not quite gotten the real slam.
It would be exciting, but when Core was on the LCS the other week, when we was chatting about it, he's like, well, I played it a lot and I thought it was really good, and then I kind of realized it's just a worse Alistar. It's just like worse than the other champions. So
you just have less armor, so lane phase is hard. It's painful. On the side of FlyQuest, there it is. I mentioned already the Azir, no surprise there. The go-to into Corki.
Okay. Corki, Azir in mid, Cassante, Renekton in top lane. I don't think you could get a more textbook solo lane matchup than what we've seen in the first half of the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Corki, Azir, Cassante, Renekton. It's about as common as it does get. We'll see if there's going to be any shakeups in the second half of the draft, because a lot of those wrinkles that we've been seeing develop in the meta were all banned out, right? Ivern plus multiple AD carries. Smolder has become really popular on multiple lanes. We were watching it earlier today in the LEC at their finals weekend. That was being played top lane. Nasus is becoming pretty popular. We saw Jensen have a monster game on it yesterday, where it was actually a blind Nasus, I think, even in that one. And he crushed that game. So has been cool to see, but thus far it is pretty standard stuff. That's unlucky.
Yeah, drove from Canada to see Cloud9.
But Cloud9 are playing tomorrow.
Yeah, they're playing tomorrow.
Just come back.
Don't go back to Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, just camp out here for an extra day.
Exactly.
Stick around for a while and listen. Let's see here. What other AD carries are they worried about for their Ezreal lane? The misfortune, and I mean, they were hovering Kaisa earlier, but that is definitely, I think, a little bit less likely for Team Liquid. They definitely still could go for it. Let's see, Rel is also still up, so they could slam on the side of Team Liquid, since they're the ones that are going to have to show both picks there for their entire bottom lane in the next rounds. Rel plus something, so they are worried about that Kaisa, and in the end, they do ban
The
it.
sign game is on point.
Yeah.
I gotta say, there's some good signs out there today.
The trash being talked by the signs. The carnivorous horses. There's some ostriches and stuff. I'm down with it.
Carnivorous horses are terrifying.
Those things are fast.
Just the idea of that.
All right, Brand, our last ban here, the second half of the draft, alongside the Leona for TL. MF and Kaisa, like you already mentioned, Azael banned out by FlyQuest here in the second half. Let's see what they're going to pick here. We've already got both solo lanes. They could just lock a jungler, leave that support counter pick for very last if they wanted. Hovering over this Amumu, again, you already mentioned how this was a very important pick in the series yesterday. This has become pretty popular, and now we're going to see it here again.
And
today.
it was so interesting because across all major regions in summer, it had something like 10 plays, and basically we saw it 5 times yesterday. So it is really ramping up in priority in NA. People are putting a lot of value on its ability to actually just start out team fights. It's simple. Get in there.
Press the button.
Hit the ulti. The fight begins. It also can be flex to support. We haven't been seeing it in support, nearly as often, but there is that possibility if they see an angle for a different jungler that they could still move it down there.
Yeah, biggest difference here is going to be Prio in bottom lane. They take the Kalista here. The Yeon and CoreJJ lane is what every lane in the LCS right now has been looking up to. These two have been such a power duo ever since the ascension of Yeon. So let's see if they also slam the very powerful Senna right now. The only little wrinkle is that Team Liquid have, up until this point, fully relied on CoreJJ being a main engage, either a Rel, a Nautilus, an Alistar. It's always him, the captain of the team, being engaged and making calls for the angles that they're going for. So it will be interesting to see how TL as a team just operate with him on the Enchanter. Very squishy champ. You have to go for vision very differently when you're running this type of composition. You also have to be way more reliant on UmTi and Impact, which is fine because they also were like S-tier engagers.
Yeah, but one of the big losses, I think, even though it's an amazing champion in a strong lane, his ability to roam is really hamstrung, on this Senna. The roams, I think, has been such a big part of TL's success, and CoreJJ in particular is so impressive. So this champion, really, really strong. This player, I'm expecting to do well on it. He won a world championship playing Enchanters, but he just is so special in what he does for TL on the Engage champs. That'll be interesting to see how UmTi and Impact step up and how this looks in the first draft.
Yeah, and I feel like that's been a story with CoreJJ for so long. It's not that he can't play the Enchanters. You already mentioned he won Worlds in Ardent Sensor meta. There was never a more Enchanter time to enchant than Ardent Sensor meta. That's when he won. But he's just such an incredible go button for his team. We'll see if they can find the angles to dominate FlyQuest here in this first one. Team Liquid have been looking absolutely insane so far this split. They have been the best team. Kobe, I remember you. I was listening to the dive the other day, and you were talking about how...
Was he saying something smart?
He was. Yeah, he was. I was
good
nodding
job,
my head
Kobe.
along with him.
I was sweating there when you
I was sweating too. We say some dumb stuff on the dive.
I was like, that was 50-50.
That's rare. That's rare.
I was nodding along. I was like, you know what? I think I agree with this. You were saying that until somebody gives you a reason, there's no reason to doubt Team Liquid. And I think that's what everybody's wanting to see here today is can FlyQuest give us that reason?
Let's see, because they have been building to this moment all split long. This is my most anticipated matchup in a long time because we've had to wait since the first series of summer. We have been waiting to see this clash again. And let me remind you that when Team Liquid won in spring, they specifically called out the FlyQuest top lane and jungle as being annoying and being very happy that they were able to take them down. So let's see. There definitely is some built-up tension between these two teams, and we will get immediately into the all chat.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a rivalry that is building up. FlyQuest has been up there at the top. There's a lot of players on these teams that really want to be winning that title. They don't want to just be second best. Bwipo talked about it, how he has been kind of second fiddle to Impact, and Impact is that bar for greatness right now in the league. Everyone looking up to this guy and how well he's playing, and Bwipo was excited to kind of test himself against Impact.
And man, Impact has always been such a rock there at the very top of top laners in the LCS, but I feel like this split has even been remarkable by his own standards. Like, the difference between Impact and everybody else in the top lane has been definitive.
I think it's really exemplified by the fact that they have led the way for lane swaps. They brought back so much from MSI and from international play in how to play their side lanes in the mid game. So it's not just like lane swap openings, but it's lane swaps back at like 5 minutes, then at 9 minutes, then after all outer towers are down as well. And Impact is just so knowledgeable, paying attention to every minion wave on the map, even while he's still concentrating on his own lane, and making a lot of macro calls for Team Liquid, while also still maintaining very good individual performance.
Well, you can see by the 3 cameras we got right here, no lane swaps starting off here in our first game. Instead, going to be some pretty standard stuff with APA having the push here in mid, while Yeon and Core are doing the same thing bot.
And that is, going to benefit Yeon and Core, of course, with this Kalista Senna lane, and Core trying to stack up his souls whenever he can, get these chunks, especially onto the Nautilus there. So building their wave on bottom side, and it is worth mentioning that junglers have opposing jungle starts here, so Maokai, Mr. UmTi will end up on the bottom side, while Inspired is going towards top.
And I think one of the really interesting things about, FlyQuest, he's talked about the meta changing, but also the playstyles have changed. Inspired has been so complementary towards Quad, and in the regular season, he was 9th out of 8 junglers, by the way, as far as his mid-jungle proximity. In playoffs, he's 2nd. And he has really been... Bwipo's in trouble.
Yeah, Bwipo very, very close to death. Impact going forward for the 3rd hit of the Antofo strikes. The Croc tries to escape, but there ain't no running from the best top in North America. Impact with the solo bolo for the first blood.
Bwipo said, Impact is the bar for greatness, and that bar is still above his head.
I think that bar just hit him in the head.
Yeah, it definitely did. Let's take another look at the bar.
Yeah, we can watch it one more time. The bar hits back. This one gets scary as Bwipo wanted to go past and look for a little bit of a proxy play. But this gets awkward when you try to cross back through. He pulled right tower aggro as he actually hit him, and Impact just slowed him down in that tower, got the Pathmaker, stunned him against the wall. And this is just a bit of an overplay there from Bwipo, because when you walk through that tower, when you cross, you cannot hit them back or you pull tower aggro. In this case, he did, and it all goes bad.
I don't know how many times, gentlemen, we are going to see professional top laners disrespect K'Sante underneath the tier 1 turret. I feel like the story ends the same way every single time.
And, walking past Impact right there and disrespecting him is a mistake you don't get to make again. We'll see what they're able to do with this lead, because they're already calling UmTi. You see the Maokai heading up. Plenty of vision here for Bwipo, though. He has multiple angles covered, so probably should be UmTi. Oh, he's actually passed over the Tri-Brush ward there as he goes to hover behind Impact, but I don't think UmTi will waste much time. He can just go to another full clear top to bottom.
Yep. Yeah, doing pretty well in that situation. And I think Bwipo was just in a spot where he thought, Impact's not going to hit me. He needs to farm the wave, right? And Impact just recognized that spot and now is keeping him away from those minions and pushing him all the way back. He might just die here, likely going to have to go back to base. Now has no TP, so if Impact can crash the wave, Bwipo is going to lose quite a bit here.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. It was a fully completed Bramble on first back because of that first blood that Impact got, and Bwipo, no summoner spells, walking his way back.
And it's not a cannon wave, so there's not going to be any minions to actually really heavily tank this up. Let's see how many he loses. It's already 1 minion he's lost. I think he's going to lose at least like 6 or 7, and Impact doesn't have a jungler up here, so he probably can't actually stop him from getting all the way back to the tower, but you get the plate, you're going to deny probably at least about a full wave. Inspired maybe gets to stop the base here.
6. That was number 7 right there, and he got in range, at least for EXP of it.
Lost 8 because he missed that last one as well. So quite a big hit there, and now the CS is evened out.
And again, the experience is the real kicker here, because Impact is almost level 6.
Yeah.
And Bwipo, as he does get back to the lane, but he's still going to be so far behind. So they're lane swapping. This is a very common timer with the with the 6 minute for Grubs. Team Liquid still going to be ahead of the curve. They swap first, but you see FlyQuest answering straight out of base. Here comes the Nautilus as well. Massu is kind of hovering down to the bottom side and is going to get popped by that sapling. So they do see the Ezreal going back down bottom.
Yeon still just hanging out in the brush here with CoreJJ. Bwipo hits level 6. Dominus available for the Renekton.
Oh,
UmTi looking to come up and maybe assist him here. Bwipo's got half HP.
Inspired
no flash
yoinked it
still,
too.
remember. FlyQuest popping that ulti there for the Renekton, maintaining control over the top side river. They got the one grub. The other two are going to reset. Bwipo running out of time here on the ulti for the Renekton as he jumps in. Call of the Meek heal off a 2. Now UmTi looking for the angle. Bwipo has lost the ult. Flash engage comes out with a twisted advance. And now with a little bit more damage from the bottom lane duo, Team Liquid's about to pick up another easy one. Bwipo drops and Yeon's getting the money.
So while Inspired did yoink the Void Grub, he smited the first one, but then here comes UmTi and he gets payback. Since your smite was used on the first one, he's just gonna go pick up that one, and it is just really good response from TL, seeing the big wave and saying, you have to get this thing crashed, you have to get this thing in, and then they just fight FlyQuest off of it and prey on the crocodile once again.
And it looked to me like Inspired moved down, and APA was kind of skirmishing with Quad around that jungle, around that river, and it seemed that APA might have spotted Inspired, which then prompts them to go in on that top side with the Renekton ult expiring. UmTi knows, all right, well, if Amumu's down by mid, we have a free 3v2 up here, so they go in, they get that kill. You know, TL played around it really, really well. I think FlyQuest, you know, initially was doing a pretty good job to actually get in and steal that grub, but maybe overplayed their hand, and we can try to watch on the mini-map. Oh, this is pretty far back, so I'm not sure we'll get to see what I was actually talking about.
See, the sapling does
gets spotted
tag
right
him.
there, and then this is after the initial steal. It's much later than I was thinking.
Yeah, so this is him just walking by, Inspired gets it, and then they chase UmTi off, but then they don't respect UmTi wrapping back around.
Oh
and
yeah, he does see him right on the ward.
Yeah, he's clearing the control ward, no problem there, but they don't respect it because that big wave is there, and then TL, they prey on them, wrapping around. UmTi just walks up. He was like, okay, fine. Giving me the pathway, I'll take it.
Yep.
And that's further dividends being paid from Impact's solo kill earlier as well. Because there is no flash on Bwipo, it's so easy for UmTi to just commit the flash with the point-and-click W, lock up Bwipo, get another kill, make it easy. 1,500 gold lead early on for TL. It's about to be even more as Yeon is mining plate gold while UmTi takes the drag.
I gotta highlight something that's a little bit sad right now. A 90-stack cull, 8.5 minutes into the game, is never the spot you want to be in. Bwipo has to pop the Dominus, you know, expecting some more potential pressure to come in. He's going to use this likely to just try to clear out the wave, but he is in a really tough spot.
Okay, Inspired going for the dive on Impact up here on the top side while Yeon has to get away in the 2v1 down in bottom lane. Meanwhile, Impact staying alive for a moment longer, trying to go all out, but it ain't going to happen. Massu taking the kill there while the bottom lane fight turns into nothing. They tried to reinforce Impact with the Senna ultimate. It wasn't enough to keep him alive. Busio barely gets away.
That is very good news for FlyQuest. They needed to pull that off.
This is not good news. Bwipo has no ulti any longer, and it's more money over to TL. 3 kills now as Bwipo dies again, and the tier 1 turret is going to pay the consequences.
Yeah, TL just seemed to be getting more on these trades each and every time. UmTi now has that lock completed. This is kind of becoming the new meta over the Zeeks a lot of the time. People just rushing straight towards that. As they're going to look mid.
Oh, APA gets shuffled back. Inspired looking to make his way into the minion wave with the first bandage toss. APA tries to get away. Quad needs one more hit with a soldier, and FlyQuest picks up their second kill.
I went back to look at it too because I was a little confused why Bwipo went back under tower since he had gone up to the Gromp basically and got hit by a sapling. But he didn't walk all the way in, so just not respecting the fact that UmTi could also still be there. So in the end, they do mirror those ones. Interesting choice there, but they do get one more back here towards mid lane, and that is going to be your completed Leandries for the Amumu. So now you do have that threat here on his side, has his flash ready. As soon as that ult comes back up, they can make a big play. The Amumu really was a big star yesterday, so high priority. Actually, both teams really preferring it over the Maokai, even though they eventually did respond with it.
And I feel like the itemization for the front line of FlyQuest is pretty simple this game. It's a lot of armor, right? You're up against a double marksman duo, a triple marksman if we include the mid lane, and then the only real magic damage is coming from Maokai, which isn't that much of a threat. So FlyQuest's front line with the Amumu, with the Renekton, should be able to get pretty tanky against these guys as long as they don't continue to fall behind.
The question is just how much armor are you really going to build, right? You know, realistically, generally Renekton is just going to go, you know, very kind of bruiser items, HP items. We do see Amumu sometimes go Leandry's into like a frozen heart, but then it's hard to get to a third item as he's going to go all up, pull him under the tower.
Bwipo continues to find himself in tough spots as Impact tries to dash away while Inspired reinforces his top laner. Finally, Impact may have gone too far. Inspired barely survives while down to the bottom lane. Yeon has to try to get away down to 100 HP as Massu continues firing. CoreJJ firing off a couple of heals as they try to kite the fight backwards as Busio goes forward and Massu gets locked up. Busio grabs the kill on Yeon. Massu arcane shifts in. FlyQuest comes to life, 5-3.
Huge Inspired diff on the top side. The Amumu we were looking at with just completed Leandry's and ultimate goes for the counter on Impact as Impact flashed over to follow Bwipo. They get that kill and then the bottom lane comes up with heroics. Fly Massu, the rookie of the year, is now 2-0. Trinity Force completed on Ezreal.
Yeah, he's playing really well. Him and Busio finding the angle here. To look for that all in, we can look back one more time as this was Impact fighting Bwipo.
Now, this play is actually even better because Bwipo had died earlier to Impact. So Impact's going to flash follow for sure, but Bwipo had Inspired coming up the river a full 10 seconds earlier. So it was a really good timing there, just as Impact decided to Cassante ult Bwipo under tower. It was the perfect situation to pull him over towards Inspired.
Nice drop. No flash Cassante.
Maokai coming. Fighting.
All right, nothing crazy, nothing crazy.
Nope.
No flash Cassante.
It can't be too cocky after the start of the game.
All business in game one. Yeah, you kind of have to nurse your own ego a little bit after the 0-3 start. It's a slow climb back up.
And it was a good timing for Inspire because if he wasn't there, Impact probably solo kills him.
I would give my jungler something more like a jungle diff. Good job. Cheer
him up. Hype him up. Jungle diff. Wow, look how good you are when you gank top lane.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
spam
see how I slid that in there. You know,
let him know that you're on the same
smart.
page.
You're well practiced. I could tell.
Yeah. Wow, you're so good at ganking top.
Maybe you should
could pull that again. Yeah. I'll be here when you're ready.
You've had some practice.
Oh, yeah.
Then when they gank bottom lane, you're like, good try.
Good try.
NT.
Bot lane was inting you on that one. I got your back though. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
FlyQuest with 30 seconds left before turret plates fall are ahead 1,000 gold. Particularly impressive considering they were down 1,500.
Oh, Busio hooks in. UmTi's here.
Busio wants it down the bottom lane. Yeon's taken low, but the reinforcements arrive for Team Liquid. Busio is first to die. Quad gets a shuffle, but it's only on the enemy jungler. Inspired arrives, and UmTi flashes back over the wall to safety. FlyQuest brought more men, but they also lost one. Finally getting a trade back at the back end as Massu goes on a killing spree, and Yeon dies for the second time.
That's a big kill for FlyQuest because they were giving up full mid prio to APA with Quad using the teleport to the bottom side. They're going to pay this price no matter what, so it was necessary to get that extra kill onto Yeon at the end. But APA and TL still opening up mid lane is a huge objective.
And this is something that they are really, really good at doing, at utilizing APA to play the map. And obviously this is just Quad TPing away, but as the game gets later, almost always TL will put APA in a side lane and he's constantly taking those objectives. It's very difficult to trade up against this team.
I gotta say, this series is already delivering here. This is what I like to see. Counter punches from each side, FlyQuest versus TL at the top, and this one is going to be a trade. Dragon will just get picked up, so it's 1-for-1 now. FlyQuest grab that one, even though UmTi, CoreJJ, and Yeon are down here. All you can really do is push the wave.
Busio goes in for the hook, finds his mark onto UmTi, but a nice use of the Bramble Smash to try to disengage it. Meanwhile, Core's gonna have to be pulled to safety from Yeon, but Yeon is already down to begin. CoreJJ now stuck in the middle of 4 enemy players on FlyQuest. Impact makes his entry into the fight, but it might be a little bit too little, a little bit too late. Impact grab the kill on Bwipo to at least get something back for TL, but FlyQuest is out fighting Liquid.
They couldn't even finish pushing the wave because UmTi got hit there for the engage, and the teleport came in early, but Maokai!
The Maokai ulti locks up Busio, who dredge lines forward, only finds his way onto a wall. Team Liquid's attempt at a counter engage won't get anything in the back end.
Yeah, not going to be able to find anything more, and Massu is getting dangerously fed here. Excited to see this guy back on a hard carry. Played a lot of Ashe in their previous series. Obviously a strong champion, but he excels so much on these team fighters. Such a talented player. And here it is one more time as both teams just immediately the TPs were coming forward, but Inspired preempts the play, R flash in, Bwipo's behind him with the teleport. That really made all the difference.
Yeah, getting there really early. And then you see Impact now joining, but the damage has already been done. They've got the numbers advantage, and so Cassante ult over the wall here to answer one. Quad, this tower is basically dead.
Yep. 2 shots from APA with the extra damage over time on the Grubs will do just that. UmTi now getting caught yet again. Dawning Shadow from CoreJJ, but now he's in danger as APA fires back. FlyQuest has to retreat. They may have overextended, and CoreJJ is grabbing the first kill. FlyQuest thought they had a pinch there. They thought they might have caught UmTi, but Team Liquid thought otherwise.
And the angle from APA was so good as they tried to push through that corridor to get in onto UmTi. APA is just free firing on them. TL had the faster backup, and look at top lane. This is something that is so signature Team Liquid. When you make a play, you look elsewhere, they're hitting towers, they're taking objectives, and they are punishing you for any sort of misstep. So FlyQuest is really going to have to be so clean in these fights and in their map movement.
I think one thing that FlyQuest can look at now is that after that play, the Corki with no flash could be a big target. APA does a lot of work for this team, so maybe some burst damage as far as one of these plays as we have another friendly top lane trade.
It's not just going to be top lane for long. Team Liquid is bringing the whole squad. Third hit knockback on Bwipo there as he has to flash away to try to survive. Lives with 100 HP. Team Liquid not quite enough firepower to bring him down.
Yeah, they should be able to finish up this tower as well. So we'll end up with all 3 outers here pretty early in the game, as is typical TL fashion. But FlyQuest have been getting a lot of kills for themselves.
And you can see they had actually pushed out bot, so just now are we seeing him arrive at that bot lane tower to hit there. Mid lane, the Kalista arrived to actually defend mid in time, so we'll see how much of a trade FlyQuest can get. They are going to get that bot lane tier 1. Mid lane will be defended, but TL will trade the top lane tier 1 a kill, and they're going to be able to try to get this Herald.
And I really have to remember back to what we heard from Inspired after the interview with him when their victory against Cloud9 had just happened, talking about how the early games were so slow in that one because they knew that they could do that. They could, you know, just weather the storm against C9, but Team Liquid wasn't going to allow that same sort of a thing to happen. Gentlemen, this has been a scrappy game. We've got 14 kills in 18 minutes, and honestly, I'm hoping we get 5 games of it.
I concur, Flowers. Definitely want some more already. It's also interesting because if you just see, like, the bounties are actually starting to go down right now. Even though there was one right there, Massu's has shrunk, and it even disappears now because if you look at the actual gold for each of them, it is Yeon ahead, even with all those extra kills that had gone to Massu. This tower gold that gets spread among your team, doing a lot of work for Team Liquid. Him and Corki here. Very, very powerful as they're roaming around. And now the extra territory that you get to work with, look at the mini-map as all TL go topside here, 4-person.
Yeah, we're going in for Bwipo again, a target on his back. But they will not find the mark. UmTi has to retreat, soaking too much damage there from the turret as FlyQuest reinforcements arrive.
Yeah, you were talking about that FlyQuest early game, you know, those early games versus Cloud9. You know, this series has been very scrappy, but that last one was pretty different. You know, this is kind of the comparison in the regular season versus what they were doing against Cloud9. You know, even from behind, they were able to kind of out-team fight Cloud9. They were depending a lot on scaling. They were going a really different angle, and they're just saying, we're going to play Ivern, we're going to play Smolder, we're going to beat you 5v5 later on in the game. This time, I do think they still have some really strong scaling, but it's not as stark as I think it was in the Cloud9 series.
And I would definitely credit FlyQuest here for their better early game really coming off the backs of Inspired and Busio. These hooks from Busio to grab them some of these plays on their counter plays on the cross map, and Inspired, similar thing with the Amumu engage, has really afforded them a lot more gold earlier on in the game. So we'll see if it ends up becoming a problem for TL. They should be able to set up for Dragon first, and with the vision advantage, FlyQuest might think about it twice, but Inspired has Flash. He could ult Flash on Amumu.
Impact is already on the flank. Inspired goes in. Nice flash engage coming out with the curse of the Sad Mummy, but there's no follow-up here just yet. Impact going all out, taking Inspired back over the wall as Busio is down to 50 HP, and APA is going to be the focus now. Bwipo takes him down. That's the first kill coming in for FlyQuest, but the rest of their lines are in danger. Quad is under pressure from Impact, who is an absolute raid boss yet again. He cannot be stopped. Massu tries to run away as Impact continues the chase. The third and Tofo strike ain't going to hit. Massu jumps over the wall, but UmTi's ready to follow. It is a 4-for-1 for TL.
I'd say that's all on the engage there. Inspired goes R flash just to get the Corki with nobody in range. No damage follow-up. Nobody can actually play off the Amumu ult. And then Bwipo does come in at the end, but the Senna shield's already over the top, and you already have such a big lead as far as the front lines go for TL.
And look how much damage Bwipo took actually as he was walking through there. He wanted to target APA. He walked past Core and Yeon. He was a pin cushion by the time he actually got the first hit in on the Corki.
The timings in these team fights, especially from these top 3 teams in the LCS, if one team is like a half a second or a second off on their coordination on their engage, then you just get wiped like that.
Very, very good stuff from Team Liquid. Now 3,000 gold ahead. They're up a Drake as well. Things are once again in their favor. What do we got to see from FlyQuest to sort of stop that momentum? Is it just you got to make sure you don't get hands dipped in the fight? You got to make sure you're on the same page, or there's something more to it?
I mean, I think it's like what Kobe was talking about. You know, you have to be coordinated on that engage. We had the R flash come in, but you need everything to happen at the same time. You need the Ezreal ult over the top. The Renekton needs to be arriving at the same time. It has to be picture perfect.
And I will say that we were mentioning armor before, but this is all magic resist. That Amumu is a Liandry's DPS item and then double magic resist here versus Corki Kalista. So if you are not picture perfect on your engage and your timing and you're not relying on actually locking them down with the CC, then you will take damage very, very quickly. You saw before, like that Amumu just kind of disappeared.
I mean, it's high risk, high reward, right? You know, it's magic resist, but it's also magic pen for him and the Azir. So if you're perfect on that engage, you can one-shot them, but if you fail the engage, you get one-shot. And that's kind of the build that he's opting into here. Which is going to be very exciting. FlyQuest still have a ton of gold on their carries, kind of where they want it. Obviously, we do see TL in the advantage, but the Ezreal is strong. The Azir is strong. They both have 2 completed items. You look over on the other side, it's the same thing for APA and Yeon. FlyQuest are definitely in with a chance, but they've got to make sure that they're playing this out well and somehow have to answer Impact, who's really been a problem.
Well, the biggest individual gold lead in the game right now is actually in the support role for CoreJJ on this Senna. 2 support items fully completed with the Moonstone, with the Echoes of Helia. We've seen how big of a problem this champion can be if he's allowed to just be an undeterred healing battery in these fights. And Team Liquid's War Machine is not slowing it down. 5th turret claim now as the tier 2 in mid crumbles.
And you know what the healing battery loves is a great front line to heal. There's a huge tank difference in this game because of those frontline items that we mentioned.
Has no clue. They have no clue they're on Baron right now.
I honestly don't think there's a lot that they can actually do about it too, because it's so hard to face check this team.
Well, Inspired doesn't have flash, but he does have a way over with the bandage toss.
Inspired's a man on a mission. He might try to go in and steal it away. Impact's going to try to keep him out of the pit. The Baron is secured, but now is Impact the sacrificial lamb. He wants to try to get away, but he cannot find that exit route. Bwipo trying to cut off the rest of TL from being able to escape, but he can't get there in time. Instead, UmTi's ready to try to turn it, but it's still a 4v5. A nice shuffle from Quad, and Massu's got the kill on Yeon. Team Liquid may have got the Baron, but everybody's dying as the price.
Yeah, they only get 2 Baron buffs out there as Quad done a great shuffle. TL, the initial play looked like it was going to go so well. Impact kept the enemy jungler out. You think, hey, if they can escape with 4, this is fantastic. But FlyQuest had a good TP from Renekton, had great follow-up from the team, and are able to punish heavily.
All about Bwipo and that teleport that you mentioned. The deep ward is the star here. Right here, that ward allows him to get in. The other big star is Steric's Gauge, because they chunk Bwipo as they're trying to run away, but then the Steric's Gauge shield pop, and they're like, we were actually not close to finishing off this Renekton anyway. And Yeon, does get locked up. They try and go peel for him, but they end up losing so much more because Quad can go in, shuffles him back into the Amumu ultimate for the extra collection here.
Run. We're split, guys. Copy. That's okay.
All right, so let's take stock of where everything's at. The Baron power play is currently negative because of the deaths that they suffered immediately after securing the buff. They still do have it on 2 players, though. We'll see what Team Liquid can accomplish over the course of the next 90 seconds with this buff. The only turret standing outside of the FlyQuest base is the tier 2 in top.
Yep, it's going to be Dragon number 3 here for them, since you're seeing the commitment here. Oh, actually, mid lane could fish around for something, since Quad does have teleport on the Azir. You know, FlyQuest would love to just have him finish off that top tower. Maybe they make the call, just get the guaranteed gold. It's only Dragon number 3. It's not Dragon Soul yet, and it is a Cloud Drake.
And we talked about how Team Liquid does with the APA. Honestly, FlyQuest has been doing this a lot with Quad, especially in the more recent weeks where they've been putting him in the side lane, trying to get as much gold in his pockets as possible. We had heard from FlyQuest members that, you know, Quad is so good, but he's not greedy enough. He needed to ask for more. He needed to take more of the resources. They're trying to do that now.
That thing melts.
Yeah, that turret is already done for. Team Liquid, despite the fact that that power play is still negative, have found great value out of the Baron. Breaching the gates here in the bottom lane. The tier 3 turret destroyed. But now the Sun Disk is summoned up in its place. FlyQuest just trying to last these next 20 seconds until the Baron buff expires. But it's a double Baron Enchanted Cannon wave as Impact is ready to push mid lane up at the same time. The remainder of Team Liquid going to keep the pressure on the inhibitor down here in bottom side. Already got it down to half HP, but FlyQuest is looking for an opportunity to punish. Massu very low now. That opportunity for a punish ain't gonna look so great now as Impact has to try to get away. Quad ready to engage here with Bwipo as they chase after the Cassante. They'll force the flash, but Impact survives and FlyQuest lose bottom inhibitor.
Notice how the carries of TL operate, because Yeon knew that he's the target. He had no flash, he had no cleanse. So it was APA and CoreJJ stepping up. They were the ones creating space with their range up onto the tower, up onto the inhibitor, while Yeon was just staying out of range, barely there. And so FlyQuest, even though you think the comms are like, all right, we got to go for the no flash, no cleanse Kalista, they were unable to have that as a target, and TL get what they came for.
Yeah, they play it well. Quad off the back of that did get the mid lane tier 1, and you notice Bwipo backed up, so it was full solo gold for Quad again. Now he has 3 items, and he has another 800 gold in pocket, so he is keeping pace with where these TL carries are, and he's only 300 gold down. Yeah, Core has a massive amount of gold over Busio, and that's going to be problematic because it just makes it so much more difficult to punch through those other carries, as he's going to have so much healing and shielding. But Quad is strong. Massu is strong. They are going to have an opportunity here. You can see the Mortal Reminder is now done for Massu as well to cut some of that Senna healing, cut some of the Maokai healing. So they have their opportunities. They're just going to have to make sure that their engages are picture perfect. And Busio, anytime he goes in, it's going to be a one-way trip. You know, when you're on one item this late in the game, you are paper, Warmogs or not.
Hey, there's a Ruby Crystal in there. That's more than one. All right.
He's got something in the pocket of his Warmogs.
What percentage of an item is a Ruby Crystal for you?
Like, I don't know, 10.
Okay.
That's generous.
That's nice. I like that.
Not that great, but it's something. It fills up an inventory slot.
That's true.
It's not an empty square.
It's trying its best.
We will see.
It's a rock.
If he survives with 150 HP, then there you go.
Ruby diff.
All right, we'll see if the Ruby Crystal ends up being the make or break here for FlyQuest, because right now they have to dig in, they have to continue to defend. Team Liquid owns Summoner's Rift, and Baron is going to respawn in about 60 seconds. Dragon a minute after that, and it will be Soul if Team Liquid claims it. That'll be very, very difficult for FlyQuest to deal with. Remember, this isn't just movement speed on ulti, as everybody wants to chalk it up to be. It's permanent, constant move speed, and you're against 3 marksmen who want to kite you.
So my main question then, since Baron is coming up very shortly, is going to be how do FlyQuest actually get their vision to have a good team fight? Because when we talk about frontline diff, the biggest thing you think of is team fights. Makes it way easier, but it also makes it way easier to get the vision set up for those team fights, because Impact and UmTi are so tanky here on the side of TL, and FlyQuest, they've got no pre-existing vision, so they're going to have to go a little bit risky with it.
They could potentially wrap on Impact here, but we don't know exactly where they are. They're playing in fog, so UmTi is here to cover now. If UmTi walks in too far, he could be in trouble.
He's going to drop the control ward in the brush, as now Impact gets jumped on all of FlyQuest, committing for the kill on Impact. APA teleported in, but now FlyQuest moving as a 5-man unit. Gonna make a play for the Baron. It'll be up to Team Liquid to try to answer.
And that is so freaking smart from FlyQuest. There were no other angles. Now it's gonna have to be TL 4 versus 5 defense.
Baron's already below half HP. UmTi is not in the pit just yet. FlyQuest are trying to burn it down. Inspired should be able to smite this, no problem. Baron for FlyQuest. Gold lead for FlyQuest.
Vision play is play of the game for me, Flowers, right there. That was amazing from FlyQuest. We mentioned how difficult it is for them. They have no pre-existing vision. They know that Team Liquid are going to have access to the super scuttle crab bloom basically around Baron. So they all go through lane, huddling on the top side of the map, the one area TL don't have covered, and they go immediately kill the Cassante, the tank that everyone always complains about having such a hard time. That was such a necessary comeback play for FlyQuest. I am looking forward to seeing what they do now with the buff.
And now the question is, does TL challenge at this dragon? Because Soul is on the table for them. It's spawning in 5 seconds, but it's difficult when your opponents have that Baron buff. APA is top lane, it has no TP, so I think the answer is very clearly no. They're just going to try to continue to play for more gold for their solo laners and wait for that better opportunity.
All right, no Soul just yet. FlyQuest controlling it, APA trying to finish off this last remaining tier 2 turret. Still standing on the FlyQuest side. With Impact coming up to reinforce him, it should be pretty easy to get that done. Busio and Bwipo are both here, but they're not here in time to stop that from happening. Not that big of a deal at this point in the game. 31 minutes in, still only 1,000 gold separating the teams. It has been a battle so far.
It is really close, and it's going to come down to late game execution here. You can see the Baron buff only positive 200 because those tier 2 towers are worth so much gold. TL went topside. You can see now that they're also doing this work, reclaiming all of the vision in this area. This is all dark now for FlyQuest, and they're going to look for a pick.
That's the twisted advance on Bwipo. FlyQuest made their last play with a 5v1 on the enemy top laner, and now Team Liquid's doing the same thing. 5v4 for TL, but that true shot barrage just ripped into the health bars, forced them back a little bit as the wave is clear.
They stole their whole flow, bar for bar, word for word.
When in doubt, go.
It worked.
When in doubt, go kill enemy top lane.
It's like, hey, that whole killing top laner thing looked pretty good.
Give it a spin, boys. Team Liquid feeling pretty good about that one. It also slams the brakes for anything FlyQuest would have wanted to do with that Baron. You can see up in the top left, 35 seconds left on that Baron timer. Half of that is going to be wasted on Bwipo's respawn.
I will say, because FlyQuest did it first, they got a bigger reward. You know, they got Baron out of it.
You're the original.
Exactly.
Yeah. Bunch of copycats over there on team.
Oh, CoreJJ nearly killed there. Massu does so much damage so quickly. Luckily, Yeon is nearby to save him, but that was still both summoner spells out of the Team Liquid support.
And the Kalista ultimate here. Thankfully for Team Liquid, you know, there's no huge objective immediately, so they have some time to regain that cooldown. At least the Kalista ultimate will be no problem for them, and it should just be pretty safe clearing of minion waves, as the plants will afford the extra vision this time so they don't get trapped or caught.
Both mid laners have their big ticket items now, i.e. done for the Corki, Deathcap done for the Azir. Knight's Vow is done for Inspired. Who is he actually the Knight to, though? Who did he link that to? It looks like it's probably Azir because I don't see it on the Ezreal. So yeah, it's got to be Azir.
Inspired is the Knight, and Quad is his lady. He must protect Quad.
King Quad.
Yes. Quad with all of this AP, with the Void Staff, with the hat. You were already talking about the big ticket items, dude. If this guy finds that huge shuffle, or not even a shuffle, just a couple of auto attacks with the soldiers.
The huge auto attacks from 700 units away.
The massive Azir spears. Just going to turn these guys into Swiss cheese, man.
I mean, it is an interesting story with Quad and Massu being so reliable carries for this team now that you were talking about earlier. It is definitely deserved.
New era.
They have really proven themselves to this FlyQuest team. So yeah, take your vow. Kneel and protect them.
In spring, it was really all about FlyQuest topside. That's what everyone talked about. It's about the Inspired Bwipo duo. Now it's much more about enabling Massu, enabling Quad, getting these guys in the right position to succeed because they can dominate in a 5v5. Might have one now.
Busio with the engage, the dredge line onto UmTi. There won't be a whole lot of follow-up here just yet. Bwipo's coming around from the side, already has the Dominus, so the Fury is building, but the fight has fizzled.
And now Renekton going to be without ultimate. They didn't actually see him pop it, I don't think, so may not have that info, so might not really be relevant, but now has been spotted by that blue trinket.
I feel like you should be able to suss out that he used it
so much Fury.
Just by seeing him at 100 Fury. It's like, you know that he wasn't standing there hitting.
That's why the blue trinket, I think, matters there, because it kind of tips you off.
All right, Team Liquid maintaining control over the mid lane here yet again. We are 60 seconds away from both another Baron as well as another potential Dragon Soul on the map. This time, they're not staggered. These are going to be spawning almost simultaneously.
And you can see with that replay the observer showed us, they didn't actually see him on the way out until that blue trinket right there. So that obviously gave them the info.
Luckily for Bwipo, with this build, your ultimate cooldown is 57 seconds.
Not bad.
So we'll have that back up now.
Okay.
Perfect.
Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about.
Well, Dragon is something for these teams to worry about, though. Dragon and Baron, the spawn timers are very synced up this time around. Only a couple seconds separating the two. FlyQuest has done a good job of actually moving in and taking over a lot of vision on this bot side. TL has been pretty much choked out. Most of their vision is placed around the Baron on that top side.
Oh, UmTi's very far forward, and FlyQuest is going to go in after him. The Dawning Shadow ain't going to keep him alive as Inspired has to try to get away, and the Sun Disc is summoned up, so TL cannot push further forward. Busio is overextended, and APA is grabbing the kill. 1-for-1 thus far. Quad and Massu still looking for a little bit more, but they got to be careful. There's so much damage on both sides. One misstep and you're dead. Massu.
Watch Inspired, watch Inspired.
Half HP like they're Inspired. Looking for the angle, but not finding anything just yet.
That was pixels from bringing an Amumu ultimate right there.
Yep.
That was so close. The plane just barely goes up towards the Baron, and now they're actually going to trade it. They're going to try and put pressure on Baron. It technically is a Kalista.
It's so slow, though. By the time they get there, they're going to spot it with the Ezreal. Oh, this could be problems here for TL. We'll see if FlyQuest can actually respond.
Bwipo just flashed to try to catch APA, but it didn't work. Now Team Liquid still going after the Baron, has it secured. They're ready to try to escape using the power of that mist from the Senna to make it so FlyQuest can't catch up to anybody. Team Liquid trades away the Dragon for the Baron.
Yep, now it's soul point for both teams here. Both teams sitting on 3 dragons. TL obviously with the run of the map right now for 3 minutes, having that Baron buff. We have to see how much damage they can get done. Because if it goes to that next dragon fight, it's really anybody's game. And APA did have to use the QSS there, so has that available now. You can see Seekers picked up by Quad. It's really tit for tat. Both these carries are buying the same kind of items at the same time. And it's going to be so explosive. We're seeing how fast these fights go. You know, even with that first kill for Fly, Inspired instantly had to flash out because he is paper at this point.
And even the objective trading with that small amount of information was really smart to see from TL. They only sent Impact and Yeon, but it's a Blade of the Ruined King plus your Rage Blade Kalista. So even with just the 2 members and the other ones trying to give away false information, they're able to burn it down so quickly, the extra couple seconds there, allowing them to finish it out.
And you can see it's also a Jack show now for Yeon. So he's actually building a little bit tanky, likely going to be a BT last item. This is actually pretty popular on the Kalista because you have to get so close to your opponents and you're really heavily outranged by both the Azir and the Ezreal. It can be tough, so you can't be too squishy.
Remember, Bwipo, no flash, but an engage comes out from Inspired. He's too far forward yet again. There is no follow-up on the Amumu. No matter how many targets he hits, it will not matter. Team Liquid now with a 5v4, still with Baron for the next minute and a half. FlyQuest are going to have to really dig in to defend this one.
It's going to get so tough for FlyQuest. They need to depend on Quad. His wave clear is so critical at this point. This is here monstrously strong. But look at mid lane. Bot lane is already open. Mid lane is about to fall down as well.
Impact catches Bwipo, brings him back over the wall, and there is no escape. Sun Disc summoned up on the ruins of the freshly destroyed Tier 3 turret here in the mid lane. As FlyQuest still has all 3 inhibitors intact for now, but Team Liquid is looking to change that and change it fast. Mid lane inhib should be the first to drop. Bottom lane inhib will fall to APA right after. Top lane inhib. Next in line is Impact and CoreJJ. Put the finishing touches on that one. Inspired will respawn in about 2 seconds, but it's still half a minute until Bwipo is back on the Rift. Just about the same timer as the Baron buff here for Team Liquid. First Nexus turret nearly dead already. Inspired looking to follow up with Busio. They want to find the engage, but it ain't going to work out. Inspired is already dead and APA's on a rampage. Impact leading the charge. The Nexus turrets about to fall. Try as they might, FlyQuest cannot withstand Team Liquid, and it's a TL dub to start the series.
What a first game we have of this series. We've waited since the first series of summer for this rematch and already delivering. I did go back to look at Inspired's vision when he went for that Amumu bandage in the front of the tower, because it looked a little odd, but going back to look at it from FlyQuest vision, they did not have vision of the rest of TL moving up, and so he was trying to get a bandage onto the minion to get range for his ult onto APA, and burst down APA was the thought process, but because TL had already rotated halfway up, they were there in time to immediately kill the Amumu, and that was the game breaker right there. That got them inside the base, and with the Baron buff, they were able to finish it.
A game that close is a game of seconds, a game of inches. The smallest difference makes everything. Reminder to all y'all, single day tickets are officially on sale for the LCS Championship at the YouTube Theater in Los Angeles. Head on over to riot.com/LCS Championship to claim your spot now. LCS Lounge, break this one down for us.
I refuse flowers. That's not going to happen. We're sending it back. No.
Yeah.
We're done. Goodbye. No. Yes, Team Liquid taking the first game of the series. We want to talk about that dragon fight 20 minutes into the game that really blew it open for Team Liquid.
Yeah.
Of course, it went on a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this game was really close, right?
Yes.
But I think one thing that made it look a little chaotic for FlyQuest is that they couldn't win front-to-back team fights, and we're going to see why in this one. It's basically, for me, because Senna counters Amumu, in my opinion. Let's watch this fight. Just if you roll it forward to when they actually do the engage Raz.
There we go.
Speed this up.
And they're coming in.
Yeah. And I'm going to want you to pause it when Inspired flash ults, which is about now. So, like, we're a little zoomed out, but this is the range. It's about the whole river. It's a pretty big Amumu ultimate. You think it hits 3 people. But now, roll it forward. And wait for the shields to hit.
Bang!
Oh my goodness! It's bigger than the river. So unless they're literally one-shotting the team, the Senna ultimate is always going to completely negate the Amumu ultimate, and then as we roll through the rest of this fight, Team Liquid cleans it. And you wanted to talk about Cassante.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to come back a little bit because the first thing that comes to mind when it's Team Liquid, first of all, they have great control of the entire Riverside. If I actually turn off Fog of War, yes, they put Blue Trinket to see that they're doing the objective, but imagine you're FlyQuest, you're Busio, you're the Nautilus.
Anyone could be there.
Yes, you don't know where they are. You're going into Senna, Maokai. It's very difficult to start your fight. You need to be the face checker. And so they do see impact immediately, but the problem is if you want to get the fight started, you're going to have to push on through. So they go for it. My biggest issue is like, the Cassante is still sitting in here, guys. You may not see it, but if I do this, the man is vibing. So, yes, you make the engage happen, but if you're Quad and Massu, what's the play?
Yeah, how do you get through this Cassante, man?
It's not happening. And so guess what Cassante does? Cassante things. That man sends Amumu straight through, follows the fight immediately afterwards as they focus on Bwipo. So I think this fight was just impossible right from the get-go, A, because you're walking into Senna Maokai, which is going to be tough, and B, Impact was amazing this game, and in this team fight, he made his presence felt.
I want you to do one favor for me, Rex.
Hit me.
Go to the end of the game on the timeline.
Oh, I'm ready.
Pull the items up.
Okay, let's do that. I'll do that. You know, I like the victory screen, but I think that's fair.
Press O. Okay. I'm just slightly disappointed.
Okay, tell me why.
This thing.
No,
it's the magic resist item.
Yeah.
Because I count 1, 2, 3, 4 physical damage dealers, and I count 1 magic damage dealer who's built no AP whatsoever. I can understand the mask to buff the Azir damage. I don't know what he was doing. I think he got a little lost in the sauce there.
That's fair enough. The game escaping
it probably didn't decide the game, but it just irked me.
You know what? That's fair.
Yeah.
We're doing a therapy session at the beginning of the day. I think it's fair to be able to speak your truth.
Do you need to swap places? Do we need to give you therapy for itemization?
You want to? No, we already got past it. We got past it. But yes, just looking forward in the series, Emily, what would you want to see coming out of this?
So I actually thought FlyQuest had a lot of really good team fights. They had really good setup prior to that Drake fight that we just walked through about how TL had set it up. I think Senna is really, really strong.
Yeah.
In general, like she did so much in team fights, but I think the big thing for me for FlyQuest is it did seem like at times they were desynced in terms of how they want to set it up. Like, obviously, Bwipo's ult is on such a short cooldown, as they pointed out on cast, when it gets to the later fights. There were a lot of times where it felt like he was looking for flanks without the rest of the team either understanding where he was going to come in. And I felt like that was a big thing that we saw that was good from them last week, right?
Yeah. If I want to quickly point out something that was good from FlyQuest's side, we're kind of looking at them there. Massu and Busio had a great laning phase. They were able to get a 2v2 kill on Yeon and CoreJJ. And when we were saying, it was like, this is going to be a difficult matchup. You're going Kalista and Senna. They found their window. They made the plays happen. They're playing well. FlyQuest is choosing red side.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
That's interesting to see.
They liked a lot of what happened in that draft is what I take from that. And
yeah.
they're going to want to run it back in game 2 with maybe some mild tweaks. We'll have to see that as we head to break. We're going to take a look at our LCS Connected Comms replay presented by AT&T and voted on by chat.
Yeon no W.
Look for flash. Amumu is looking for flash.
He's a flash.
Renekton behind.
Watch Amumu. Okay, Amumu side. Free.
I'm probably gonna die.
I'm still low.
Watch Renekton.
Yeah.
I should be fine.
I think we should win.
Through look. My W2.
Play with impact.
I change bomb.
Okay.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Baron's up.
No flash. Back up.
I don't think we can do Baron.
We got it.
Oh, look at this. No shot. No, he's got to try again.
You good, dude? They're watching.
Hey, man, chill. I got it.
Yep. Wow. Pulled it off at the end.
Wow.
Not bad.
Not bad, not bad.
It's full crashes.
Yeah. One more crash.
Top set.
Nice. Amumu, your impact.
Good impact.
Yep.
If you go. Senna ult top.
He
will die.
They are here.
Nice job. No flash Cassandra.
Maokai coming.
Fighting a lot bot.
Maokai has flash, okay? I can help you if you go down here.
3 Massu.
Yeah, I have very.
She has no plans.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Well played, that was huge.
Next passive auto, I can flash out of her.
I think grabs will have to give because of that, but I think it's worth.
Got
You
it.
sure he's dead for 15? I can help you right now.
No, I
Nice,
can't do
Massu.
it.
Nice job bot lane, guys. Huge.
Nice bot lane.
Oh, let's go. I'm tipping. Let's go. They have no flashes.
Yeah.
Anyone?
No flash.
They're tipping.
Let's go.
We should fight, we should fight, we should fight.
Kalista Senna.
Yeah, I'm trying. Block the
TP
Senna.
behind.
It doesn't matter. Fight.
I'm coming.
Look Corki.
No, Cassandra together. Everyone together.
I'm strong.
He ulted me.
Look, Sama.
I'm down.
I'm ulting Kalista.
I just coming.
Just go. Kalista.
Kalista Nautilus ulted.
Azir just flash in.
Don't flash
flash
Kalista. Kalista's ulted in. Nice job. Next.
Yeon, be careful.
Baby coming.
I have ulti.
Hey, I ulted here.
Move.
Come slowly. I'm outside.
I'm
fine.
I'm looking at Azir side. Azir Junior. I'm fine. Azir no flash. I'm fine.
Azir no flash.
We turret.
Cross it, target. You can still win.
Yeah,
You can still win.
Good job, guys.
Nice job.